Hi everybody, welcome once again to another Low on Health year-end review. This is of course part of my Besides Gaming series, in which this case, this particular video will be focusing on movies of 2009 that I watched. Now, of course, back in 2009, that is when I kind of lost my job and I spent a lot of time watching movies and whatnot. A lot of the movie watching I did was through Netflix. Netflix is a great deal. Basically, you can sign up for like one disc at a time. I signed up for the Blu-ray plan, which was like $14.99. I think maybe $12.99 for the Blu-ray, and get unlimited streaming. So I was basically able to, set up through my Xbox, through my PC, to stream whatever I wanted, and also to get Blu-ray discs, like two every week, and basically watch them because I have, of course, the PS3, and I like to watch things all nice and high def, and that was just a really good value. And of course, I definitely recommend Netflix to anybody that definitely lives close to any of their distribution centers. Of course, there's one in Tampa, which is really close to where I am. Like, you can send it back and they'll get it and ship you one out in a day or so. And it was a nice, good turnaround time. But I'm just going to go over quickly the movies that I watched in 2009. Now, I did watch a lot of movies in the theater in 2009 too, which was interesting. But once again, this is going to be another video where it's just a lot of data to kind of just keep record of what I watched. So, if you see these, you can just kind of pause it and read what I thought about that certain video, if that certain movie, if I didn't mention it in this thing. And kind of get you an idea of what kind of movies I like and don't like, and see if they mesh well with yours, or if you see something you're on the fence about, and if I said it was good, maybe you won't watch it or whatnot. But that's really what these videos are for, so let's go and get started. The first set of movies that I'm going to mention, let me get that out of there, is going to be The World's Greatest Dad and District 9. Those are kind of going to be my two main picks of 2009. I really much enjoyed World's Greatest Dad because it's a nice, dark, satirical film. And of course, District 9 because it was just a good kind of action, kind of political type of alien movie. But really good movie on both sides. Of course, District 9, basically had a really good, had good characters and setting. That's probably one thing. It really made you not necessarily relate, but understand those characters and the plight of each side. World's Greatest Dad, like I mentioned before, was just a nice, really kind of dark humor movie starring, of course, Robin Williams, who's just fantastic, and it's nice to kind of see him once again in a film that I really much enjoy. Of course, then you have Watchmen, which is actually one of the movies I saw in theater, and I also have the Blu-ray, and I also have the graphic novels and whatnot. And of course, Watchmen is just a great movie. Moon is also a nice little kind of sci-fi, kind of hard sci-fi movie that's just really kind of just good. I mean, it's just one dude in a space station with Kevin Spacey playing the voice of the kind of the AI, and it's just a really good film. I want to recommend Moon to anybody who hasn't watched it. Hangover, like I mentioned before, Dude, Where's My Friend, 2009. Surrogates, which was good, that was Bruce Willis. Inglourious Basterds, of course, is a great film. I recommend to anybody who's a big Quentin Tarantino fan. Half-Blood Prince is one of the ones I saw in theater and I liked. Of course, then basically after that, I watched all the other Order of the Phoenix on Blu-ray. Transformers, I have not been a fan of the new Transformers movies. Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, it wasn't as bad as a lot of people made it out to be. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, but rabble. I'm like, it's still just a decent movie. G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra was actually pretty decent, I thought. Terminator Salvation was meh. Up is, I really, like, if I had a top 5, Up would be up there. Up was just a nice, really good kind of a CG movie. I don't know if it was Pixar or DreamWorks, but it was just a nice kind of sad, really super sad in the beginning, but just a nice tale of a grumpy old man. And I, of course, am kind of a grumpy old man myself, and I really much enjoyed it, so I recommend it to people. I also did a bunch of the Night of the Living Dead saga. Watched a bunch of those because I had it from streaming and whatnot, in which case, like, my favorite would be the classic 1978 one where they're stuck in a mall, and I like that more because it's kind of a timepiece. I like kind of seeing what things were like back then, minus the zombies. The Star Trek 2009 was also very good. I was pleasantly surprised with that. X-Men, of course, I watched the trilogy and Origins, in which case, as a whole, they're okay. It's not as bad as some of the other trilogies that I watched, like Matrix, of course, went downhill. Spider-Man trilogy went downhill. Starship Troopers trilogy was weird. The first one, of course, is great. The second one is it's a small independent kind of film, which I thought was actually pretty decent. And the third one was just absolute garbage. Step Brothers was horrible. There's a certain amount of Will Ferrell films that I enjoy, and this was not one of them. Just like Land of Locks, which is also a Will Ferrell film that I didn't enjoy. Treating the Center of the Earth was actually better than I thought it was going to be. And then, of course, I was on kind of that guy, so The Mummy was next. Iron Giant, which is actually a really good kids film, and just kind of film all together. I really recommend it to any families out there. Watch the Iron Giant. It's a nice family film, and I actually enjoyed it. Superhero Western Django was actually, I think this was also like a kind of a co-produced Quentin Tarantino. This film was just really good. It's kind of a, it's a foreign film, but they do a really good job making it like a spaghetti western kind of a staple, and really give that a watch if you haven't heard about it. It's to all my like anime slash foreign film fans. It's really worth it. Donnie Darko, of course, which is a cult hit, was good, which made me want to watch Southland Tales because that's the same guy that did it. In which case, Southland Tales was horrible. CJ7, of course, is a Stephen Chow film. In which case, he did the Shaolin Soccer and whatnot, but and Kung Fu Hustle. But I've been meaning to get back to watch his older films, which I probably will this year. The King of Beggars and Gotta Cooker I'll probably be watching soon, because Stephen Chow films on a whole are usually good. This was kind of a kiddie kind of Stephen Chow film, in which case not that great. Resident Evil Extinction, we all know what the Resident Evil movies are going to be like, so, take it with a grain of salt. Clockwork Orange was, of course, the classic film I haven't ever watched before, and I actually really much enjoyed it to a point. And then, of course, I watched, Porky's, which is another classic one. My Name is Bruce, of course, is a classic Bruce Campbell film, in which case if you've watched any of his films or are a fan of Bruce Campbell, you've probably already watched it. District B13 is really an interesting, once again, another foreign film that had kind of extreme street parkour of doing all the cool street gymnastics and running up walls and shit before it became really popular. In which case, I know they did a sequel to it, which apparently wasn't that good. The Boy and His Dog, which actually is a really funny kind of post-apocalyptic movie. I was in the mood to watch them, and this kind of just popped up on Netflix. Netflix will recommend you movies depending on what you liked and haven't liked, and this popped up, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'll give it a watch. And I was really pleasantly surprised. So all you Netflix people out there, if something recommends it and you're kind of on the fence about it, go and give it a watch. I mean, they've been kind of almost spot on with the recommendations. Hancock, which was okay. This is Spinal Tap, which of course is the classic film I never watched before, which is funny. Battlestar: The Plan, I hope I wanted to like more, but I didn't, because it didn't only explain like the first half of the plan, not the tail end of it. Transport 3 was good. Momentum. Once again, with Netflix, I was able to go back and watch, of course, a bunch of movies that were classics and I had never watched before. Quantum of Solace was good. The Spirit was okay. Nightmare Before Christmas. Apparently, I think it's mainly because Kingdom Hearts has burnt me out on that whole setting, in which case I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought. It was probably more nostalgia. Was the reason why I liked Nightmare Before Christmas. The X-Files movie was okay. Underworld: Rise of Lycans I actually thought was better than the previous two Underworld movies, so definitely give that a watch if you're into like the vampire and werewolf and not the crappy Twilight, like the nice visceral bloody type. Final Fantasy Spirits Within, which of course I have always loved. I was able to watch it in Blu-ray, nice and high in def. Family Opera Special Edition. Once again, believe it or not, I am a huge fan of Family Opera, especially Andrew Lloyd Webber's version. It has just a great sound and great visuals and just overall tone and direction. It's just a solid movie, in which case I recommend it to people out there. If your girlfriend wants to watch it or wife wants to watch it, definitely watch it. The music's great and it's just an awesome movie. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, once again, like I mentioned, I went back. Mirror Mask is okay foreign film. Night Watch and Day Watch is, of course, two Russian films, and you don't get a lot of Russian films out here, in which case I really liked that. It was kind of paranormal and kind of whatnot. Tiger Blade was okay. Big Fish is another movie I will recommend to people. I'll basically call it out and say it's a really good movie, and I've watched it numerous times. The Warriors was okay, the classic film. Kill Bill was always great. Die Hard, of course, we all know is great. Reservoir Dogs, which I never saw before, for the first time I saw, was I enjoyed it, and now I know what all the stuff parodying it was about. I'd never actually seen the film. And The Vampire, once again, a classic vampire film. Office Space, like I said before, if you have never watched Office Space, you have to watch it. This is one of the quintessential films of any kind of office worker environment or just normal work environment. If you watch Office Space, you can identify with most people there. Dark City was good. Princess Bride is, of course, a classic, which, of course, is another one of those movies you don't think I maybe would like. It's a classic, funny, film, and I recommend it. So many good quotes and characters. Fargo, which is another movie that I hadn't seen in a while, but or I've never seen one of those classic movies again, and I very much enjoyed it. But that's really kind of about it. I like to, as always, thank you guys for watching. And I'm sorry, it was just a bunch of data, but this is kind of me just getting out what movies I saw in 2009. There will be a 2010 one coming out very soon, probably the next week or so. And once again, it's just going to be straight up data. These were articles that were up on Low on Health, and now Low on Health really is kind of just a YouTube page, so I'm just transitioning them all over to YouTube. And unfortunately, I can't fit all that text into the bottom information thing there. So thank you guys for watching, and I apologize, and I will catch you next time.